saw going on at the office besides the new Surviving Barstool.
I think it's going to be the best product that we've ever put out at Barstool.
And they're making each other cry.
There are going to be friendships completely decimated by the show.
Obviously, White Sox Dave's the first one out.
Let's go! Episode 2 in the books of Surviving Barstool. We got that boy Kenjac, Jack Kennedy in the building. We had Jeff D. Lowe night 1. We brought in another expert in the field to talk about what was a very dramatic episode of Surviving Barstool. I got to give a huge shout out to Logan and the producers and the editors, because what went on there was just a masterclass in reality TV show. Would you agree, Kenjac?
That was unbelievable. It looks so good. Like sometimes it makes me feel as if I'm watching like a real reality TV show, and that's why I'm almost like looking for the scripted moments, right? I'm like looking. I think Logan tweeted about it. He's like, "Yeah, people are gonna say this shit's scripted, but like we're not smart enough for that. Like we're smart enough to put on a show that looks this good. It's crazy."
Yeah, John, we've been hearing that forever, right? We've been hearing like this is fake. You've written a script, like the whole nine. It never has been. It never will be, because that takes too much work.
Dude, I'll be honest here. I was just watching with at least one person who was in there, and Nick actually called his mom. Like that was just
what crazy.
Like I was like, did you really do that? And he's like, yeah, just call my mom. My mom knows how I poop. Insanity. My mom doesn't know how I poop.
Yo, let me tell you something. This right around this episode is when I started to really understand like what we're on here. Like the first episode, I was just showing up. It was another video we're making. I've done a million of them before. Okay, whatever. Let me just say the words. Blah blah blah. Right around now is when I was like, oh wait a minute. This is A, really special. B, they're really taking it seriously. So I'm like at this point trying to get my game face on, and that motherfucker Nick. I haven't even farted, brother. I mean, I had no
so good.
Keeping it together. That's all I wanted to do. I was going to ask him about taking a shit. A couple of the edited parts out from yesterday. I was talking about White Sox Dave and Trista banging. I'm just trying to bring like some humor to it as well. So bringing up him not taking a shit for 2 weeks at a time in college, and when he said I haven't even farted, brother. I mean, he's the GOAT. He's so fucking funny. It's unbelievable. Which might be a big advantage for him as well, Kenjac. How often does the like class clown of these things end up making it to the end?
I feel like it always depends. It's like a matter of how, sometimes you can be sort of so funny that you're threatening to the rest of the people, right? Like if they think that you get along too well with everyone, which is like, there's a couple people in this group where like, I wouldn't necessarily call them class clowns, but they're extremely likable, like Nick. And that it can hurt you in the end because they think you're a threat. Everything
is that delicate balance.
See, I said last night, and I'll say it again, I think that being the person who it seems like I don't fucking care, who gives a shit, I'll call my mom and ask her how I poop. That's how you win. I think that's the clear path to victory.
When he goes, how do I poop? And she goes completely naked, and he goes, and? That household,
to be fair,
a fiasco.
I think that in my life, I've definitely wiped my own ass the most, but my mom is second place. I think.
There's one other person who knows about you pooping. It's your mother. That's a fact.
Exactly.
Were you guys surprised to see Trista's name pop up? Did you believe that she had actually orchestrated a little puppet show there? Did you think Donnie was going home, and was that Trista reveal a big one, or did you know that she never really had control of the situation?
I think that like, the one thing with this, right, is like I think with Barstool doing this anyway, in that not everyone being complete strangers, like it's almost, I was afraid going into it, like everyone knows each other too well. Everyone's going to vote for Tommy early because like everyone wants him to not get it because it's fucking Tommy and he lives for this shit.
It's crazy that they haven't done that. It's driving me insane.
It's insane, but at the same time, there's enough, like this group doesn't interact with each other enough to the point where it's almost at that level of unfamiliarity. So it kind of works. So like even that with Trista, I don't think interacts with all that group enough to the point where I was like, oh, they would stand up for her 100%. So it wasn't really that surprising.
It's actually, I think what we're doing here is we're reinventing reality television, and you have people who actually know each other.
Yeah.
And then they fuck each other over.
Right.
Because it's always been like, You want to see strangers who have never met. Like, they want to see people who are kind of connected at a tertiary level.
Yes.
They kind of have to, and they'll continue to have to work together after this.
Yes.
Fuck them all over like 1,000,000,000%.
It is crazy. Brendan says the fact that they went after Trista before Tommy is asinine. You got to think that Tommy knew he had a bullseye on his back, and I wonder how much. Oh, that wink!
Oh, wink! I want that wink on a T-shirt. I said that immediately as soon as I saw it. I want that wink on a T-shirt.
Put it on a shirt. Let's go. We got the glue guy on sale. We got to get the wink guy on sale too.
Just Tommy winks? Come on.
There was 2 winks. One was Tommy, and one was Trista. One was well executed. One was a mess, and I think it all played out exactly that way. I wonder just how much Tommy was orchestrating that, because I think that they could have voted for Tommy out of spite, out of strategy. I think that they kind of voted like the outsider. Again, Kenjac just described it. If you know a little bit of the office politics, you know that White Sox Dave is a Chicago guy, and that he and Trista were both like a little bit removed. And so I think that was almost a little bit of like high school like cliques and social shit going on. And now I think it's going to get interesting because we're getting down to like the nitty gritty where everybody knows each other. Everybody's friendly. People have shows together. People go out together. So I think that this was probably a chance to vote someone like Tommy off, but instead it was just like, well, I don't know you, and let's just take care of that.
I think Kelly and Brianna both made a big mistake sort of playing their hand after the fact, right? Why would you tell anyone?
I really disagree.
So here's the thing. It always reminds me of this when like you ever play with someone like in poker and they bluff you out and you're like, okay, well, what cards did you have? The person who doesn't tell you what cards they have is playing the game. The person who tells you the cards, they don't know what they're doing.
And they
do not want to do that.
Satisfaction. They want to be like, I bluff you. I think that Kelly and Brianna wanted to talk about, I think also they just want to get off their chest. I kid you not, I asked like one question because I figured that's like the end of the show. No one's really going to give up their secrets. And I was just like, so, you guys all like fucked her over with your alliance, huh? And it was just like, came all flying out. You think that was a good move, John?
See, I think there's a double play here. There's more than what's happening in regular Survivor. Because guess what? All of these people are going to remain personalities for years to come.
True story.
And so you're going to have to still be at least remotely likable, right? Or somewhat likable. There's going to have to be an explanation for the mean things you did. Yep. And I think right away when they were both like, she was too good, I was right away like, oh, that makes sense then. Okay, that's why you got to vote her up.
Well, the two.
If you went with just like we just didn't like her, then like you kind of look mean and all that stuff. Yeah. But if you're like she was good, I'm like, okay, I get that then.
But the thing was like the too good is like when they say on an interview, what's your biggest weakness, and you say I care too much.
Yeah,
like, we know.
Yeah. I show up too early.
Yeah. Like you're saying that you're such a strong character, such a strong contestant. To be like, it's a backhanded it's like I just fucked you over, but hey, I think you're pretty strong.
It's a double whammy too, because for Kelly, she shows everyone that she's a backstabber, and then for Brianna, she now shows Tommy, hey, I'm just willing to vote for you for no reason. Tommy's he's the guy, he's here, and he knows what the fuck he's doing. Why would you do that? Why would you tell anyone?
I don't get it. They don't seem to take him seriously with like his level of gameplay here. An all-time line from Kelly. So I'm the only cunt here.
Yeah, that was great.
It's like Brianna went with, like you said, John, the likable angle. I almost think Kelly wins points in the other direction for just being like, fuck it. I'm the only asshole.
And I think there's something to be said for that too, because I think that I think people who fully embrace the villain, and Kevin, we kind of talked about this a bit on KFC Radio today, where people who are like so Kevin and I on KFC Radio today, coming out tomorrow, is our top 5 reality TV villains of all time. And we couldn't even decide if CT was a villain because he was so villainous but so liked. And I think there's a way to be both, where you're like, all right, I am the villain, but also I'm playing the game good as hell, and there's nothing you can do but like me. I think Keegs is steering in that direction, maybe. And I think that maybe. No, it's not right. I was trying to save it. It wasn't right.
Let me ask you this, Kenjac. I believe in reality TV shows being a female villain and being a male villain are two wildly different things. I think there's if you're the girl, as Kelly said, you're the cunt, you're the bitch, you're the backstabber. The guy, I think, usually kind of gets like he's just like a man taking care of business, doing what he's got to do. Is that a fair assessment?
I think so for sure. I think it's also evolved over time throughout as reality TV has kind of progressed. I think if you look at like even early Survivor, like Richard Hatch or Johnny Fairplay, like those guys were ultimately despised. I know you never heard of Johnny Fairplay, which is fucking insane.
I looked it all up. I couldn't believe I saw the pictures of him and read about him, and I remember Richard Hatch. I just don't remember Johnny Fairplay. It must have been like I got in for season 1 and then never kept up with it. I don't know. But he's a fucking asshole, that guy.
Richard Hatch? Oh, yeah. I mean, I see a little bit of Kelly and Richard Hatch and Kelly, too, although I don't know. Kelly might have done tax fraud, too. I really have no clue. I don't know her that well. But like Richard Hatch was a real dick.
You know how long Richard Hatch went to jail for that?
How long was it? I know it was a decent chunk.
51 months for tax evasion. He went to jail for almost 5 years for tax evasion. That's pretty fucking crazy, man.
Yeah, but also Richard Hatch. I mean, if we're talking like Michael talking to Oscar, like, oh, it was Kevin talking to Oscar. Oh, you'd love jail.
Yeah. So,
did you guys notice, by the way, before I forget on Tommy, I noticed right in the beginning, the opening montage, Tommy Smokes, he tied his shoes the second he got up. Like, does he untie his shoes completely and take them off every day when he goes to sleep?
Tommy is a fucking lunatic. I mean,
I never noticed anything specific about that, but just watching Tommy tie his sneakers, it was almost like watching a giraffe say the alphabet. Like,
right?
Like you're like, it doesn't line up what's happening. No. What you're doing shouldn't be what's happening. It doesn't make sense at all.
Just do me a favor as the next episode goes on, take a look at Tommy's lips and his hands.
Oh.
I'm gonna say that.
Tommy deserved to be in the hospital by last Tuesday. Like,
yes.
I come into work every day and be like, Tommy, what is like you are ghost white and your lips somehow are fucking fire truck red.
For a guy who thinks that he could go live in the wilderness on these shows for 30 days, after 3 days in an office building, he started to fall apart. So.
He has like a faux hawk growing up. Like his skin was all wet. Like it was glistening. It was gross.
Tommy Wing, not easy on the eyes during Surviving Barstool. Let me tell you that much. The challenge. I'm going to ask Logan that we get some deleted footage and some uncut scenes because the Furstroming or whatever the fuck the fish was called. Oh. The can was like warped, almost like when you see a can that's almost about to explode. So it wasn't really like a regular rim that you could use a can opener on. So Vibs pops it and that like demon scent comes out. And then he cranks it one time and it just cracks. The can opener broke. And here at Barstool, we have an extra can opener. It's a miracle we even had one of those can openers.
Oh, shocking.
And the smell at this point is so overwhelming that I'm like, well, we have to fucking open this thing because we're all suffering through the smell. I've never smelt – it was a dead body times 1,000. I was over at the New Amsterdam bar a good like 10 feet away, and I was like, John, you would have had no shot up there, dude.
Kevin, I was – hundreds, maybe thousands of feet away, and people were running over to me and telling me, "Get ready, it's about to hit you." And I would go, "I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I'm fine, I'm good. I don't know what you mean." And they're like, "It's coming." And then, almost like in a horror movie, where people come across the town, like, "Here it comes!" Yeah. I then felt the warm embrace of that fucking horrible stink, and it. I will also say this though, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be way worse because it was just what I got. What I got was just the cat piss.
Oh, we got so.
And the fish is what would bother me more.
Yeah,
but the cat piss. I was like, it's not great. It wasn't good. It wasn't ideal. but it wasn't the worst.
This
The
was
stick water is not that bad, and
Yeah.
the century egg I've had before. I've literally eaten it here before.
Yeah.
But the stromgening or whatever it's called, that Swedish thing. I know there's very specific rules to how you're supposed to eat it. Like you're supposed to open the can underwater or outside.
we did not do any of that.
No, it's very specific. You're supposed to take the bones out. Donnie's just chugging down bones.
Well, you could
like,
hear Donnie at one point. He goes like, "I've read about this. You're not supposed to eat this like by itself." And I was like, "Yeah, whatever, weirdo, eat up."
just chewing down bones, just shredding up his intestines.
You're eating bones. It was like I don't want to be like the party pooper here, but I don't think we should make these guys do this. But so at one point I grabbed a knife and I'm just jamming it into this thing. My hands are covered in the goo and the gunk because I was like, let's get this over with. And nobody would go near the can. So I was like, somebody give me a fucking tool. Let's get this thing open. And I went into like dad mode where I was just like covered in shit. And I was like, let's get this over with. So, I mean, my hands must have smelled. I washed my hands 1,000 times that day. And every time I smelled them, I would still have that Swedish fish on my hands. But both of those guys, such fucking gangsters. The idea was like, how many rounds could you go? So you both eat one spoonful, you're good. You both eat another spoonful, and the first person to tap out. And Za looked at me and was like, I'm going to go forever. I will never fucking stop. So, like, you tell me what you want to do here. And that's when we switched over to the pork brains race because those guys can eat pork brains like, no problem. I've never felt so bad for a guy. Donnie, everything in his beard and like oh, look at that. Oh, and lost like a half a second and gets nothing to show for it,
We got the avalanche out of it.
Ask Za to say, you come in with me.
I didn't want to like persuade the game, but I was like, Za, if you don't pick Donnie, you are a bad person. That is so fun. But no surprise there that those two guys were the exotic food challenge winners. I could have told you that from Jump Street. Yeah, Max Easter. I've had one of those eggs, and it took me 30 minutes and puked 5 times. That Tommy had.
You're supposed to eat them very specifically with other things. You're not supposed to really eat them by themselves.
No, at all.
This is why I watching that as someone like me who's obviously quite a puker, I had no problem eating one of those eggs. To me, they taste like an egg. If you go back and you watch the lowering the bar of meat on century eggs, I just eat a century egg. It's fine.
Yeah, I don't know how you did
water,
that.
Obviously, I had quite the problem with. And then the pork brains, I had a huge problem with. But the century egg, I wolfed down no problem.
I don't know how you did that, man. It's absolutely vile. It's totally disgusting.
It tastes like an egg, which I do not agree is good.
But
I actually don't really like eggs. But
it's like a gelatin egg, though. It's like an egg gone bad. It was like, Kelly was like, I was literally just jamming this knife in there. I thought I was going to chop my fingers off. At that point, I wanted to die just so I would stop experiencing that smell. But yeah,
R.I.P. Dustin Diamond, by the way, I saw that in the trend.
Yes.
We'll throw it out there.
Rest in peace.
What was this?
Just a quick R.I.P. to Dustin Diamond.
R.I.P. to Screech. So Trista, I mean, she had the initiative. She went around the the whole office to everyone, had this idea to pin it on Donnie. I will say that I had heard a lot of talk about how much Donnie was a chance to be there at the end. Look at John fucking posing with his fat fucking arms all of a sudden. All of a sudden he's all cracked up and he's like, yeah, I'm just going to sit here naturally with my arms.
Cross my arms, man.
Yeah. Look at that. Yeah,
do it again.
Shot. Give John his solo shot. He's looking great.
Come on. Look at that, Henley.
But yeah, Trista really.
Get it on. Never mind. I forget what company it is.
Cuts Clothing, promo code KFC. Cuts Clothing.
Yes.
Trista took the initiative. I think made a compelling case. I think that people would have gone along with that if they didn't just want to get rid of her too. I think there was nothing really wrong with the way she did it. I think that people just put a bullseye on her back.
I think it's almost like you were saying before, John, how like the more relaxed and the more go with the flow you are, it really does help you. I think the more you take initiative, the more afraid people think you are, in a sense. You know what I mean? Like the more FaceTime you give to other people, they're like, oh, this person's annoying me. Oh, I'm going to get rid of this person. You know what I mean? You want to be in the background as much as possible, almost like how Bree does.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that we said last episode, and I think it's not just a Barstool situation. It's just a humanity situation. People don't want to give you what you want. And clearly Tommy wants this. I think clearly Keegs wants this. I think clearly Chicken Fry. And I think clearly with Tommy, Chicken Fry, Keegs.
And
I think probably those three. I think those three would be the ones who I can say like they clearly want to win. I think everyone else might be there like they just want to like, they're just there because they were asked to do it. I don't think anyone else is like, I need this. I really, truly want this. But those three want it. And I don't think – I'm sorry. It's not clear that they don't want it. And it's
right.
I think they're going to be the ones who end up winning it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a clear divide that starts right around this episode of, like, people who are along for the ride, people who are like, oh, all right, let me take it seriously, and the people who are, like, on a whole other level. And you're starting to see that. I think I heard whispers. It's such a great tweet.
Oh,
that's a
tweet.
She should absolutely 2 billion% be on season 2 of this show. Liz deserves a spot in Surviving Barstool season 2.
She's a great personality for it. I heard whispers, rumors of tears were shed on the way out the door. So I think, anybody who thinks that this isn't the real deal or real emotion is crazy.
That was pretty clear, I think.
Yeah.
I think we're done with rumors. It happened.
Yeah, that I mean,
What was the move, by the way, jumping into the game time room?
I think she's putting away her torch. I think.
Oh, is that? I thought it was hiding. As a viewer, I thought it was like she was hiding.
So that's what I thought too at first. I was like, is she just making a very awkward attempt to avoid the crowd coming this way and then just going back anyway? But I think she was putting away the torch. I'm not 100%.
Okay, that would make more sense.
I didn't, I'm finding out right now as a viewer the extent of that alliance. So she said I said to her, how you feeling? She says, well, I've been screwed over. Now, at that point, I thought that she had a one-person alliance, maybe a couple of the girls. I didn't realize she thought she had the entire gang. So I'm like, talk me through it. Like, how did they backstab you? And I have the votes, and I'm like, well, this one had to be you. And this one, somebody voted for Tommy. But, like, who backstabbed you? Not realizing that in her head, she's like, everybody, motherfucker, all of them fucked me over. So she was just sitting there kind of being like, yeah, no, like, I thought, like, just let me fucking leave because I hate all of these people. Because I didn't realize at that point that every single person told her, like, yeah, we got your back, and did the total opposite.
I mean, well, most of it was female handwriting, though. So.
Oh, you got to analyze the female handwriting. Cowboy, that's the other thing, too. I did not know the rule. They told Cowboy you're not allowed to speak on the jury until the very end. I didn't know that. So I sit down. I'm like, how you feeling, Cowboy? I'm thinking, let's get some more stupid White Sox Dave quotes. Now he's angry and bitter, and they want him to save that for later in the week, which does not disappoint. But I'm sitting there peppering, and he's just giving me thumbs up. I was like, okay, idiot. Like, I guess don't say anything. But we're all on the same page now. At this point, I get the rules. I understand what's at stake. And it's – so looking forward to episode 3. Like I said, it was kind of like, Trista's relatively new. White Sox Dave, they don't have to really see on a daily basis. Now we're talking about 2 girls that have a podcast together. Donnie and Za, who are like travel partners. Nick, who's friends with everyone in the office. Tommy, who's like, Mr. Surviving Barstool. He's getting down to the nitty gritty. What are your expectations? What are you thinking for episode 3 of? And what do you think are potential challenges that might come up? Kenjac?
I think the one, not even just to speak to the challenges, the one thing that needs to happen is that there needs to be a more ironclad alliance of the boys. I don't know why the boys aren't all teaming up.
The Scuzz Bros. They've got the numbers, man.
Exactly. They have the numbers. All they have to do is team up. That's like the easiest fucking thing in the entire world. And they just haven't done it. You got the numbers, man.
Yeah. There is something primal just about like boys rule and girls drool. We've got dicks and they don't. So let's just unite and vote them off.
Dudes rock,
but
man.
Also, what I'm surprised that I haven't seen yet is just dishing out percentage. Like, I'll give you some equity. Like, don't vote me off.
Yeah.
You got 10% of my winnings. You got $1,000. Just don't vote me off. There's been like that would be immediately my first move if I thought I needed it.
Is that like a rule? That might be a rule? No, Kenjac? I feel like that would kind of ruin the fun.
You'd end up being like fucking Charlie Kelly, where like you end up selling all your shares in the bar. Like you'd win and you'd be like, oh fuck, I had $0 left.
Yeah.
Or, like Cutthroat
I
Kitchen,
gave
even better.
half my shares for half a sandwich.
Yep.
Hey, guess what?
Yeah, Nick is telling me that Logan did tell them from the jump, no selling of equity. Because that's financially that would be a no brainer. Let me tell you what I think's going on. I think that there's a little like underlying brewing Tommy Nick rivalry, because I think Tommy is very outspoken about being like, I'm smarter than you, I'm better than you, I know this game better than you. I think in general, Nick Tirani is a guy who I would imagine almost anytime he walks in the room or anytime he's having a conversation, he's the most clever, he's the most witty, he's the one, who makes you feel stupid. He's always dancing circles around me. Every time we're joking, I'm like, I can't keep up with this fucking guy because he's joking about his mom and he's talking about KB. And I feel like he prides himself on being pretty smart and kind of, one step ahead of everyone. So I think every time you see Tommy scheming and they cut to Nick being like, this guy, he's fucking losing his mind. He doesn't know what he's doing. I think that's going to be a head-to-head that I think we want to see come to fruition.
They are I feel like every school, every class has had the same exact thing. There's the one kid that gets like straight A's without giving a shit, like not trying at all.
Yes,
and the one guy that tries really fucking hard and they hate each other.
Exactly.
And the only way that Tommy wins is by making Nick try. The second he makes Nick try, like that's like the fucking kryptonite.
Right. So it's like, Nick's not studying for the test and he's still there. Tommy is, busting his ass over the whole thing. I think that those two, whether they even realize it or not, are actually kind of like head to head.
I think they are head to head, and the reason I just got up was because I watched this episode with Nick here. And I wanted to make sure he'd already left. He genuinely doesn't care. Like he didn't even want to watch the episode. Like he was not thrilled that we had to watch the episode before this came on. He could be selling me. He could be.
I'm telling you, dude, that's the thing. Nick is always selling the joke, selling the story. He was telling us about Tube Man in the fucking McDonald's back in West Virginia, and he calls up KB, and they've always got their fucking two-man routine going. They're never telling the truth. He's always playing you. He's brilliant. They're both brilliant.
That was definitely not his mom.
Oh,
Tommy which is
I want that shirt so bad.
Look at that fucking wink. Outwink, outlast, outplay. Tommy Smokes on Surviving Barstool. The wink monster. Just an absolute fucking creep. I mean, she walked out. He made sure she was gone, looked back, like, this is my moment. It was a work of art for a guy who just played a chick and signed her death certificate. Like, he didn't even think twice about it and was just like, yup, that's me. Some conniving, diabolical shit from Tommy. It's that was some brilliant theater for sure. And I think some people were like, what are we gonna do without Cowboy? I was like, relax, bro. We got a lot more coming. We got a lot more in store. And we'll be right back here again. Episode 3 tomorrow night, 7:00. We'll do this dance all over again. Any predictions, Kenjac, for what you expect tomorrow?
I do think that we're going to start seeing a more of an ironclad alliance form. And just as someone that has been in the office as some of this stuff has been going down, I know that there is some crazy shit coming down the pipeline very soon. So I would say stay tuned. Stay tuned because it's about to get fucking really crazy. It's about to get really goddamn crazy.
We got more challenges in store. We've done kind of a physical one. We did the gross out one. You can expect a mental challenge coming up. We got all a variety of games. So an even playing field with all that. And as I said, down to the nitty gritty. You got because we got high girls, you got the travel boys, the Scuzz Bros, Tommy Smokes. We are all down to major players who all know and like and interact with each other. John, any predictions from you?
I think that, and this is I have intentionally removed myself from everything. I think that at some point the male-female situation has to come. You have to smarten up and start fucking aligning with, look, it's just how the world works. Bros, we make fucking golf course, go for a golf trip, Nick. Yeah. And the ladies, go get your nails done. I don't know how it works, but you guys got to fucking get a hard drill in on both of those.
Any last thoughts on the Brianna breaking away? Kelly kind of saying, "Oh, I'm not going to forget that. I'll remember it later." Do you think there's a problem between Kelly and Brianna?
Yes.
I think both of them made a drastic error, dude. Both of them made such a drastic error talking after the vote. That was insane.
Kenjac, I cannot describe to you how much I was like, what the fuck is going on? They're telling some magician telling you the secrets. It was crazy.
That was the easiest yes of all time. Long-term problem.
I love it. The girls, there's going to be drama. There's going to be fireworks. And we'll be here to cover it all. So tomorrow, another edition of Surviving Barstool, episode 3, presented by New Amsterdam Vodka. Directly after, another after show, the Navter show. I believe, I have not talked to him, but I would imagine he will be available. Glenard Balls will be on the program.
The king.
To
yeah.
as well. So Glenneth will join us. And then after that is the big show. The Thursday will be where are we? What day is it? I don't fucking know what day we're on. We got several days to go. So a couple more days before we get into the big one. But Glenny Balls will be joining us, and we'll keep doing this dance every night until Thursday when this shit's over. So Surviving Barstool tomorrow, 7 o'clock, and we'll catch you for the after show directly afterwards.